Welcome to Creamer Media's Polity. I'm Brad Doubleman. I'm at the Center for Policy Studies in Braamfontein to meet with Senior Research Analyst Aubrey Machiki to discuss nation building and education. Aubrey, you say that approximately 60% of our population is under 30 years old. What are some of the main challenges facing a youthful South Africa?
Well, I look at the challenge of having such a young population in terms of economic growth, challenges of the performance of the public health system and the public education system. Because if you look at young people between the age of 15 to 34, 35% in that group is unemployed. If you slot that group within the 15 to 30 group, between 3 and 4 million are not in a job, nor are they getting an education. So they are faced with health, educational, and particularly joblessness as challenges. And if we do not tackle these issues over the next 11 years, I think they are a disaster waiting to happen.
You emphasize the need for education to build a bridge for young people to enter the economy, but you raise fears of a dualization of education. Please explain your concerns in this regard.
Well, dualization is happening in two ways. Firstly, you have the private educational sector versus the public education system. But secondly, within the public education system, you have pockets of privilege and excellence and a sea or ocean of underperformance and underdevelopment. Those inequalities are bad not only for educational development, but also for the building of social and economic relations. I am not arguing against the idea of having a private education sector. That is important. But the model where you have a small number of South Africans who are able to opt out of the public education system because of its underperformance is not sustainable, both socially and economically.
Please provide your strategy for developing an effective education system in South Africa.
Well, there's a good start that has been made already. The abandonment of ideas such as outcomes-based education by the Minister of Basic Education is a good start, because we've seen many policy gimmicks in education since 1994, and these policy gimmicks have had a devastating impact on the performance of the system itself and on the potential of young people in this country. Now, it's quite possible that objectively, given different conditions, outcome-based educations would have worked, but it seems in our conditions and given our history, outcomes-based education was always going to fail. Therefore, it's a good thing that the minister has decided to move away from that curriculum approach. And it also seems to me that we need to emphasize the basics. And the basics for me is that the system must make sure that it produces learners who can write, who can read, who can count, and who can think. And the fact that in the foundation phase, as of last week, we see young people in the foundation phase taking numeracy and literacy tests is also a good start, despite the fact that the results are not going to tell us anything we don't know already. But once scientifically we get a better sense of what we already know about the performance of our education system, we will be able to put in place measures that in the long term should have a positive impact not only on education outcomes, but also on economic outcomes.
What is the role of education in nation building and incorporating the youth?
Well, for me, the idea of inclusive citizenship is critical. And you can't have inclusive citizenship in a situation where some feel like outsiders, while others feel like insiders, particularly young people. Because in a dynamic of insiders and outsiders, those who feel like outsiders don't see a future for themselves. And education can play quite a critical role in fostering inclusive citizenship, particularly amongst young people, so that they see a future for themselves, and in seeing a future for themselves will take up the responsibilities and duties of citizenship that will take us forward.
Thank you, Aubrey.
You're welcome.